Coming up on The Solo Show.
And they've never done another series since, I guess, because it's just too expensive to produce.
Yeah, when you got to start paying for all that music that Spotify won't let you use. Okay, enough of that.
Stan welcomes Ken the voiceover guy back to the Solo Studios for a show about heartbreak. Okay, maybe not, but we are going to talk about the shows that left us too soon, left storylines hanging that were never resolved, or just plain left us wanting more. That's coming up right now on The Solo Show.
Tune in tight, the mic's alive. Got the stories that'll make you thrive. From a galaxy far, far away to comic pages where heroes play. Here's the Solo Show, let's dive in deep. Star Wars dreams and secrets to keep. Marvel heroes, the Muppets too. A world of wonder just for you. The force is strong, the laughs are real. Spinning tales that'll make you feel. From a Wookiee's roar to a hero's might, this podcast shines like a beacon bright. Miss Piggy's sass and Iron Man's flair, a Jedi's wisdom beyond compare. Through the airwaves, the stories flow. Here's to the magic of the Solo Show.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Solo Show. I am Stan Solo as always, and we have got a fun show for you today. At least I hope it's fun. It's kind of sad actually when I think about it. But joining me today is my good friend and yours, voiceover guy Ken. Ken, how are you today?
Hello, Stan. Thank you for having me on yet again. It seems like we were talking on another show just, two weeks ago?
2 podcasts ago at least.
Yes.
Because we're a bi-weekly show, so yeah. A month ago.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Good point. I don't think of it. You know what? It all just sort of, it just warms my heart, so I don't think about the time. I just think about the next time we get to sit down and talk.
Yeah. But you know what, Ken? I'm going to get on my soapbox, and if it's okay with you, I'm going to have a bit of a rant.
Bring it on. They deserve it.
Okay. So first of all, if anybody listening, I really want to thank you for listening. Ken and I put a lot of work into the podcast, and we're not doing this for the money. We're just doing this for the fun. We're doing it for the giggles and whatnot. It's something that I've always enjoyed doing is when I was a kid, I used to talk into a cassette player, pretending I was a radio DJ and making jokes and all that. Nobody but myself. And Ken, you were in radio for a while. Ken does all the editing, and we're not getting paid for this. We're not making any money on this, and we're getting less than 1,000 downloads an episode, and it's just for fun. Now, I'm just going to complain a little bit. If you're listening on Spotify, I want to thank you very much. But I got to say, I'm getting really frustrated with Spotify. Episode 220, our last episode, our last podcast that we put out, we were talking about music, and no, we're talking about movies. We're talking about movies. And while we were recording this one, Cody from the Grand Circle Tour and being a fan of Disney, the podcast, we were recording it. And after we were done, I was thinking to myself, boy, it'd be really nice if Ken were to add some background music of the movies while we were talking about it. And lo and behold, I didn't even ask Ken to do it. Ken's an awesome guy. Ken went ahead and did it. He added the music in the background. And it's not like as if we said, hey, listen to the Jaws soundtrack, and we played the Jaws soundtrack. In the background, you could kind of hear us talking over the Jaws soundtrack. Now, okay, I get it. You're not supposed to use copyrighted music. That's fine. But like I said, it's not like as if somebody's going to download our podcast to listen to the music. They're downloading the podcast or listening to the podcast because we're talking about movies. And in the background, we had a little bit of music. Well, Spotify sends me an email and says you have to edit the podcast and take out all the copyright music or we're pulling down the show. So I just reached out to Spotify. I say, take down the show, because this isn't the first time that Spotify has done this. And I get it. If we're playing the song and it's just straight out the music, by all means, that's on us. That's our fault. And I don't get why we download to probably about a dozen different podcast catchers.
At least that many.
Yeah. YouTube and Spotify is even one of our bigger ones. Spotify is one of the minor ones that we get downloads on. Mm-hmm. We get way more. Apple Podcasts by far is the biggest one that people listen to us on. Thank goodness they're not tearing down our shows. but yeah, so if you go on Spotify, you look, episode 220 isn't there. They took it down, and I said, fine, take it down, whatever, I don't care. I just got to get it off Am I crazy, Ken? Am I? Yes, we're not supposed to use copyrighted music on a podcast. Everybody knows that. Everybody understands that. But if we're talking over the music, what am I missing?
Well,
am I wrong?
No, not at all. And I've got two reasons why. I mean, I agree with you 100%. And I've got two reasons why I find this to be so annoying. The first thing is like you said, we're not a podcast about music, and we're certainly not a podcast where we play a lot of music in our programs. We really don't. We have our opening theme, we have our closing theme, and every once in a while we'll do like one like this where I'll throw a little bit of music in the background. My problem with that is we're playing it at a level where it's literally just sort of to tweak a thing in somebody's memory as they're listening to the podcast. It's not something that we're utilizing the music to say, oh, look, this is and we're both huge fans of John Williams. As you know, we've even done an entire podcast talking about what fans we are of John Williams. My other problem with their decision is, this is kind of hard to put into words. My other problem with the decision is our show is not a monetized show. As you said.
Exactly.
We do this just because we enjoy it. You're not making any money on this. I'm not making any money on this. In fact, if truth be told, we're actually going a little bit in the hole paying for the services that we use to produce the program.
Mm-hmm, that's right.
Nobody's making any money. I'm not making any money. Stan's not getting paid for this. Neither are any of the other people who work on the GCT podcast. Like, we do this because A, we have a love for the movies that we talk about, and B, this is just a way to sort of reach out to the community. And nobody is losing any money on this. Certainly not John Williams, certainly not Universal Studios, certainly not any of the other studios that are the music that we used. So what is the issue? All we're doing is talking about the film in particular that we were using the music from. It's not like I threw the entire soundtrack to Jaws underneath the entire thing. No, I used about a minute or so's clip of the individual scores from each of the individual films that you and Cody talked about. And like you said, this is not something that we do all the time either. This is something that's rare for us to do. So I agree with you 100%. I think it's ridiculous. If they want to take it down, take it down. I want to know, and please feel free to say so in the comments, who got hurt by us throwing these bits of music into the podcast?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree completely. I actually work with for probably mostly only Canadians who know this, but the band Streetheart was led by Kenny Shields. He was the lead singer of Streetheart, and his wife actually works with me. Kenny Shields has passed away. An amazing person, amazing singer, and his wife works with me, and they were actually using Streetheart's music on a recent show. Well, she's supposed to be getting compensation for that. Now, this is a show it's like a network television U.S. station show. I don't know if she ever did get any residuals for them using her husband's music or not. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm saying, well, they can't use it, but I can. Maybe I'm wrong. But like I said, we're doing this for the giggles. It's not like as if people are going to download our podcast so they can listen to the Jaws theme. Like we're not doing like radio stations will pay to play music on a radio station.
Right.
And I get that, but they're playing the music without talking over top of it the entire time. Like there was no point at any point that we weren't talking over top of the music.
No, exactly.
So it's not like as if people are downloading it to listen to the song.
Well, that's it exactly.
If it wasn't for AI, it would have never been caught. If it wasn't for AI, obviously they have their robots and their chat. I mean, and I guess they got to delete us because they have to pay for those robots somehow. I don't know.
It must be something.
But doesn't Spotify do? I've never even listened to us on Spotify. Does Spotify play ads of their own before or after our podcast? They might. I don't even know.
Well, I know. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts on Spotify. When I do listen to podcasts, I listen to them either on YouTube or I listen to them on Apple Music or something like that. But yes, unless you have paid for a premium membership on Spotify, you get ad breaks throughout. And, it'll sometimes come just as the song is starting, and they will cut into the actual song. So, and again, back to what we were saying earlier, like who got hurt by this? All we did by putting a bit of music underneath the talking is just to sort of emphasize the film itself we were talking about. It wasn't anything that like I was using it as a commercial background. I wasn't using it as anything that was going to benefit us in any way other than to, like I say, to sort of twig a bit of a memory for people kind of listening to the podcast going, oh, yeah. I remember that. I mean, especially something like one of the pieces that you talked about, one of the movies rather that you talked about was 2001: A Space Odyssey. And I did utilize a bit of the classical piece of music that was in it, the piece called Also Sprach Zarathustra. I mean, that's probably one of the most iconic pieces of film and music ever in the history of motion pictures. I mean, anybody hears that, nobody thinks of the piece of music anymore. They think of 2001. It's the theme from 2001 now. It's not Also Sprach Zarathustra. So, again, who are we hurting? Who have we injured? We haven't taken any money out of anybody's pocket. We haven't done anything to denigrate the music in any way. I mean, all we're doing is celebrating, hey, these are amazing movies. Hey, they have amazing music in them. You know, I don't get it. Who are we hurting?
Yeah, and we're just trying to produce a decent sounding podcast for our listeners.
Exactly.
Is all we're trying to do. Anyway. Okay, rant over. People are looking at their phones right now going, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't say anything about Spotify rant in the in the comments. This is I thought they're supposed to be talking about TV shows that we loved. Let's get on to that. Let's talk about TV shows that we loved. All righty. So Ken and I were talking, and I guess originally we were talking about doing shows that jumped the shark, and we all know shows that went on a bit too long, where it's like, okay, you know what, I don't think I'm going to be, and I got a lot of shows that I thought I would be on the list that I wish they would last longer, but then I got to thinking about them. They kind of ended at the right time, it was time for them to wind down. But anyway, so then I said to Ken, hey Ken, why don't we talk about shows that ended too soon? That sounds like a little bit more of a positive topic than shows that should have ended sooner, shows that we hated earlier than they went past their expiration date, as it were. So Ken, why don't you start us off? I think I did a horrible job explaining that topic.
No, I think we nailed this one. And you know, once you said, let's talk about the shows that we were sorry to see go as quickly as they did, I thought, you know, that's actually a better show, because I originally had said, let's talk about the ones that hung around too long. But I think this is a better one. And I'll bet you some of the shows that we're talking about are going to be on everybody's list that are listening. And maybe we got a couple in here that you're going to kind of go, oh, right. Yeah, I remember that. So,
or there'll be some that people never heard of because you weren't on long enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, feel free to comment in the comment section what shows you think we should have included and we didn't. But I'm going to start with my first one here. I'm betting this one is on. If you were a science fiction fan anytime in the last 70, 60 years, I'll bet this show is on your list. And I'm going to start it off big with Star Trek. That ran from 1966 to 1969. Ooh. Everybody knows Star Trek is a science fiction show that was created, of course, by Gene Roddenberry. It follows the adventures of the USS Enterprise and its crew. It's actually been, since it's become such a massive media franchise, they've actually renamed it now. It's Star Trek The Original Series, or TOS. And of course, the ship and crew led by Captain James T. Kirk, played brilliantly by William Shatner, First Officer Mr. Spock by Leonard Nimoy, and of course, Chief Medical Officer Leonard H. Bones McCoy, played, of course, amazingly by DeForest Kelley. The show originally premiered in January of 1968, it actually aired on NBC from September of 1966 to June the 3rd, 1969. It was first broadcast in Canada, actually had it first, 2 days sooner than the United States. It premiered on September 6, 1966 on Canada's CTV network. Now, while it was on NBC, the Nielsen ratings were originally low, and the network canceled it after 3 seasons, but in broadcast situation, it became a huge success throughout the 70s, and it actually achieved cult classic status and developed a huge influence on popular culture. The enthusiasm... Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say that one actually was not on my list, and I don't know how I missed it, because I agree completely that, that one ended way too soon.
Well, the funny thing of it was actually only originally going to have 2 seasons. They announced that they were going to cancel it as of the second season, but when rumors spread in 67 that Star Trek was actually going to be canceled, Gene Roddenberry actually started a campaign and he funded it himself by B. Joe Trimble, who was the president of the Star Trek fan club at that point, and her husband John, and she encouraged other fans to write tens of thousands of letters. They came up with 4,000 names that were on a mailing list from a science fiction convention. And the Trimbles asked fans to write to NBC and ask 10 other people to write to them as well. NBC received almost 116,000 letters for the show between 1967 and 1968, including more than 52,000 in just February alone. NBC made the decision to carry the show over for another season, and they actually announced it on the television show The Omega Man on March 1st, 1968, that the series was being renewed, and to please, well, they didn't actually say it, but they implied, please stop writing letters to the network. But actually what ended up happening after they said, please don't write anymore, they got thousands more letters from people saying, thank you for carrying the show over.
Don't tell us what to do.
Exactly. In the third season.
Now these are pen to paper, lick a stamp, stick it to the envelope, and United States Postal Service makes a quarter letters, not
exactly.
emails.
Can you imagine anybody doing that now? I mean, nowadays with, they'd get billions of texts and billions of emails and stuff like that, but nope. So finally, after the show was canceled it was canceled on the last day of filming was on January 9th, 1969. And with 79 episodes in the can, NBC canceled the show in February, despite fans trying another letter writing campaign. However, in the year 2011, the decision to cancel Star Trek by NBC was ranked number 4 on the TV Guide Network TV special, 25 Biggest Blunders of All Time. So
hey, that'd be
that was
good
the
topic.
show.
Let's do that list.
Yeah, I agree.
25
biggest
big
blunders of all time.
Is it TV blunders?
TV blunders of all time.
Oh yeah, we got to do that countdown list.
We definitely should sit down and do that one. And we'll definitely.
There's a future topic.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. Yeah, the original Star Trek. How I didn't even think of that is beyond me. I don't know. But you know what I did think of? Another TV show that William Shatner was on, and not only William Shatner was on it, but the guy that jumped the shark. Speaking of jumping the shark, Henry Winkler was on it.
Yep.
You know who I'm talking about?
William Shatner and Henry Winkler.
But wait, I'm not done.
Oh,
George Foreman was on it, as well as Terry Bradshaw.
Okay, you got me. I don't know.
So this is the TV show. It only ran 2 seasons, 2016, 2017. It was called Better Late Than Never. So they're all basically seniors now. William Shatner, Henry Winkler, George Foreman, and Terry Bradshaw. And they were accompanied by a younger comedian named Jeff Dye. And they traveled overseas experiencing new cultures and checking things off their bucket list, basically is what they did. 12 episodes in total. Season 1 had only 4 episodes. And they went to Asia. And then season 2 had 8 episodes, and they went around Europe, touring different countries in Europe. Oh my gosh, this show was so fascinating and so funny. And these guys are doing things you would never picture them doing, trying different foods and whatnot, and different experiences. So according to NBC, the 5 cast members would rely on each other for support and encouragement that demonstrated friendship as the ultimate gift. I imagine they're still good friends to today after recording these 2 seasons. The show was filmed in Southeast Asia. Shatner was the age of 84, and he actually became fascinated by Buddhism meditation after speaking to a Buddhist monk, and he started practicing meditation and that after it. The TV series was not ever officially canceled, but rather it just kind of ended quietly after its 2nd season. It was an unscripted docuseries, naturally concluding the production costs grew and the guys were getting older, and it just got to be more and more expensive because of, I'm guessing they were wanting more money. They're getting older, they were getting harder to, get together. I don't know. And I often think, so this was 2017, 2018. If they brought this show back, who would be good to be on it today?
Oh, okay. Are we talking about, I'm certain you mean like older celebrities, that sort of thing?
Yeah. Like older celebrities that would have a good sense of humor, be able to put themselves out there, be worldly known. Like everywhere they went, people knew George Foreman, people knew William Shatner, people, it's surprising how that many people knew Henry Winkler, but everybody knew George Foreman, everybody knew William Shatner, basically every country they went to.
Yeah.
And that was like an extra level to it because they were getting recognized on the streets. Plus, they're training all these different things. Terry Bradshaw's a big guy, and you got him.
Yeah.
In this in Asia,
he would stand out in
George
the crowd.
Foreman. Yeah. I think Mr. T would probably be good.
Yes. Funny you say that because the first person that popped into my head was Sylvester Stallone.
Yes. Yeah.
Who,
I can see that.
Certainly very well known in probably really good physical condition. He'd be able to do some of the things like you were talking about there. He'd be incredibly well known. I mean, he just turned 80, I think, as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, perfect. That's the ripe age for it to be on there. Yeah,
and he's definitely.
I often think on a regular basis who would be good. I mean, if Hulk Hogan hadn't passed, I think he would have been a good candidate.
Yes, yeah, I agree. He certainly, it's speaking of wrestlers, another one that comes to mind, and he would be the right age had he lived. It would have been Roddy Piper, and he's somebody I think a lot of people would have picked up on too.
Yeah. I mean, they would have to they have to have a good draw, and it was good because they had the football fans could watch this, the wrestling fans could watch this, the boxing fans, the sci-fi guys. I started watching because of Henry Winkler and William Shatner. That's the reason I started watching it.
Right, exactly.
But anyways, 2 seasons. It was one of my favorite shows of all time, and I got to look to see if I can find it on streaming and rewatch. I meant to do that.
I got to tell you.
Alrighty, Ken, where are you at?
Well, up next for me.
Yeah, check it out if you can.
I will definitely see if I can track it down. Up next for me, okay, here, newsflash, everybody. Here, breaking news. Ken's a sci-fi nerd. So my next show is, it actually, and I'm pretty sure, I'll bet this is on your list, is Battlestar Galactica. Ran from 1978 to
go ahead.
I was just going to say ran from 78 to 79, so only one season. It started on September 17th, 1978, ran to April 29th, 1979. For the, 3 people that listen to our podcast and who have never heard of Battlestar Galactica, the series follows a group of humans fleeing the destruction of their home worlds aboard the titled Starscraft, searching for a new home while being pursued by the Cylons, who are a society of robots intent on exterminating all humans. The show began as a miniseries, actually, originally, and after it was the network executive saw it, they subsequently ordered a full season, and the show was reworked as an episodic serial. It was a very expensive show to produce. It actually cost over $1 million per episode back in 1978. However, declining ratings and high production costs led to the series cancellation after only 24 episodes. ABC did attempt to revive the series with a much lower budget spinoff called Galactica 1980, and it was performed very poorly and was canceled after just 10 episodes. It originally didn't really attract much of an audience, but the show later became kind of a media franchise when they reimagined the show in the early 2000s. Also include comic books, theme park attractions, games, and so on. The show itself was, again, originally released as a motion picture. Certainly you and I remember that. The pilot was originally released with about an $8 million budget, but it was released theatrically in Canada, Japan, and some Western European countries, but then the show actually aired on ABC on September 1978. Part of what brought the series down was in June of 1978, prior to the release of the pilot, 20th Century Fox, who had produced the film Star Wars, sued Universal Studios for plagiarism, copyright infringement, unfair competition, and alleging that Galactica had stolen 34 distinct ideas from Star Wars. Universal, however, promptly countersued, claiming Star Wars had stolen ideas from their 1972 film Silent Running. And so the actual lawsuit never did finally get successfully litigated until sometime in 1983. Battlestar Galactica actually started out as a big hit. It actually was a success the first couple of episodes, but then NBC, or rather ABC, decided to move the show around and try and put it up against some of the other blockbusters on CBS, like All in the Family. And in mid-April of 1979, they decided to drop the show just because it was just not making any money for them. It was costing too much to produce. And they did get some protests and they did get some letters, but not to the extent that Star Trek did, as we were talking about earlier. But I was always kind of disappointed that we only got the one season, and I think probably a lot of people would agree that it should have been given at least one more season to sort of finish up the storyline.
Yeah, so I didn't have that on my list because I kind of look at it as the continuation was Galactica 1980, or well, I thought it was Galactica 80. Was it 1980?
Galactica 1980.
But anyways, yeah, it was pretty bad. Like that's unwatchable.
Yeah, the less said, the better.
So it was time for it to end after Galactica 80 came out.
Yeah.
And as far as the lawsuit goes, I think a big part of that was because Dykstra, who George Lucas hired to do Star Wars, I guess they had a falling out, George Lucas and Dykstra.
Yes.
So he actually went to Universal and brought all his knowledge that he learned with ILM, before, I guess it was before it was even called ILM, to Universal to work on Galactica.
Yes.
Because he created the Dykstra camera, which they used for Empire, but I guess he was using it for, he invented it, but he couldn't take that camera with him. He had to make a new one or whatever. I don't know. Which is like a computer controlled camera that allows you to do the same pass over and over again.
Yes. Yeah. That's it. That's exactly what the whole thing was about. Unfortunately, when George Lucas decided to move ILM out of up to Marin County, and he invited a couple of people, and if you ever get a chance to watch there's a documentary on Disney Plus that talks about ILM. It's really an interesting show to watch, and it tells you a lot about some of the drama that went on behind the scenes too. I mean, some of us who read magazines like Starlog and I can't even say it, Phantasmagoria and that sort of thing back in our youth, we knew some of it. Some of it was reported in the magazines, but yeah, there was a lot of problems going on behind the scenes, and George Lucas just said, yeah, we're going to start from scratch and new facilities and new people.
Yeah. He didn't like the hippie vibe that much, I don't think.
No.
Going on. Okay, I'm going to stick with the sci-fi, and I don't know if this one's on your list or not, Ken. This was from 2002. It was canceled by Fox after just 14 episodes. Firefly, despite its short life, the sci-fi western earned a cult classic following and concluded with a movie called Serenity. The renegade crew aboard a small spacecraft tries to survive as they travel to unknown parts of the galaxy and invade warring fractions as an authority agents are out to get them. I absolutely loved this series, but I didn't watch it until years later when I think my sister told me about it. And I watched it and how could this only have been one season? This is crazy. It's so good.
Yes. Yeah.
Have you ever watched Firefly?
I did. I watched it again, like yourself. I didn't see it till quite a few years later. I found out about it from a friend who was actually a big fan of the Battlestar Galactica remake, and he saw it at the time that it was on the air, and he's like, "Oh, you got to watch this. You got to watch this." And I never got around to it, and eventually I did find Firefly later, and I can't say enough good things about. The actor. I'm blanking on his name right now because I don't have it in front of me. But he was just in the new Superman movie as the Green Lantern. Oh,
I'm blanking too.
Yeah, and I'm sure people are screaming at their telephones and at their phones and everything right now, going, "You idiots!"
Is it Nate? Nathan
Fillion.
There you go.
Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually on Disney Plus.
Yeah. It's that's where I actually saw it. I only saw it, I want to say, a couple of years ago. I kind of stumbled on it, and I just sort of went, "Oh, I remember somebody telling me about this," and I watched the first couple episodes, and I was hooked.
I actually bought the DVD set. I watched Serenity first. I think I might have rented Serenity, and I went, "Wow, this is really good." And then I went and bought the DVD box set of Firefly after, way before Disney Plus came out. And it's hard to go to a Comic-Con convention with some brown coats walking around. Like it still holds to this day. Yeah. All righty, Ken, where are you at?
Well, we're going to stick with the sci-fi, and we're going to stick with the late 70s, early 80s. And my next pick is a TV show. It kind of catches some heat from a lot of people because they think it was kind of campy and kind of silly, but I enjoyed it a lot when I was a kid. I'm talking, of course, about Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. Ran from 1979 just through 1981. It only ran for 2 seasons, airing from September of 1979 till April of 1981 on ABC. It was actually produced and created, or rather developed, by Glenn Larson, who created Battlestar Galactica, based, of course, on the character from Buck Rogers, created in 1928 originally. Again, the pilot of the show was released as a film, and it actually did very well at the box office. It made over $21 million at the North American box office, and that, of course, prompted Universal to go ahead and move with it as a series. The film was released internationally, and it featured all of the protagonists' main characters, Princess Ardala and her henchman Kane. The series had an overall budget of $800,000 per episode, according to actually Starlog magazine. And the show's producer said that it was reasonably popular with viewers, but the first season never got much critical acclaim. One of the big problems with the series was one of the most vocal critics of the series was lead actor Gil Gerard, who played Buck Rogers. He was pushing for more serious storylines, and he clashed with the networks about the show's tone and the way it was handled. And he often refused to perform some of the more lighthearted scenes in the film, complaining that Buck was just, quote, a wise ass who was making one joke after another. And he actually went about rewriting some of the scripts himself to place more emphasis on his own character at the expense of others. For example, I read about this not long ago. In the episode Escape from Wedded Bliss, the script originally called for Buck to be rescued from the Draconians at the end by Wilma Deering, who was played by Erin Gray, but Gil Gerard completely vetoed that idea and rewrote it as the way that the episode ends. The show went on to be, actually, he said in the November 1980 issue of Starlog that he hoped the series wouldn't be picked up for a second season because he had no desire to continue with the second season. But they did actually produce a second season in the fall of 1980. They brought in a new producer by the name of John Mantley, who had previously worked on shows like Gunsmoke. And the format of the series was changed. Instead of defending Earth from outward threats, the Buck Rogers, Wilma Deering, and the robot Tweaky were now a part of the crew aboard a starship called the Searcher, seeking out the lost tribes of humanity who had scattered in the 5 centuries since Earth's 20th century nuclear war. And it makes me wonder if it was intended that Glenn Larson intended to cross over to the Battlestar Galactica series. The second season, frankly, died at the starting line. It never really got any kind of ground, and sadly, the show was canceled after the second season. After only, I believe it was only 14 episodes. So, sorry, an 11 episode season. So no real finale storyline was ever produced. The final episode was just a normal episode. So kind of a sad end to the show. I have the DVD box set, and I do dig it out from time to time to watch it.
Does it hold up?
Some things about it are very 70s. It's got a very disco feel to it. Some of the costumes and the music and that sort of thing.
Didn't they have like an Olympic episode?
Yes, they did. As a matter of fact, there was one Olympics episode. There was one called Vegas in Space. One of the cool episodes, though, and as a matter of fact, I believe that was the name of the episode, was Vegas in Space, actually was one of the very first times Jamie Lee Curtis appeared on network television.
Oh, wow. Okay. And I think Gary Coleman was a guest star one time even.
Yep. Gary Coleman did an episode. There were some other names too. I'm trying to think of.
Yeah.
There was some...
I think I have the box set. I got to pull that out and watch it again. I'm curious to see how campy it is.
You got to turn your brain off and just sit back and enjoy it.
Yeah, no kidding. Alrighty. I agree. That one went too short for sure. So my next one is I'm not sure if you heard of this one or not, or if you remember this one, Pushing Daisies.
Pushing Daisies. That sounds familiar.
Are you familiar with that at all?
That sounds familiar to me.
So it ran from 2007 to 2009 when it was axed by ABC after only 2 seasons, and they claimed it was due to the high production costs. It was a very quirky show, like a lot of different camera angles and a lot of different colors and whatnot. And it was about a pastry chef. I think the name of the restaurant was the Pie Hole. He had the power to bring people back from the dead, but just temporarily. So they were able to solve mysteries because he was able to zap people, and they would bring coming back to life, and they would kind of like, who killed you? And more often than not, the cadaver would come back to life, and they would go, "Oh, I'm alive again." And like, you only got a minute, you only got a certain amount of time. And he goes, like, "Who killed you? We need to know who killed you." "Oh, it was what's his name, or was it a she?" And they would fall down. It needed to be no help at all. It was very, very quirky show. And he can even like if it was like a like a dead flower, he could touch the flower and then bring it back to life. And if you buy all his fruit would be rotten for his pie thing, and he would bring all the fruit back to life, like make it fresh again. It's a really quirky show, but I loved it so much. Yeah, Pushing Daisies. So if you ever seen it, it's hard to say whether it would deserve to be on the list or not. Do you remember, or did you see it? Do you remember it now?
I think I'm thinking of a different show. You might remember the one I'm thinking. It was called Dead Like Me. It was Mandy Patinkin.
Yeah, that's on my list.
Oh, okay. Because I thought about putting that on my list, but then I wasn't sure if I should conclude it, so I didn't actually. But I think I might be thinking of Dead Like Me instead of Pushing Daisies. I might have seen it though.
Yeah. If you get it, I got to look to see where you could find it. If it was ABC, it might be on Disney Plus. I don't think it is though.
It might be.
Yeah, I doubt it. Okay, what's on your list there, Ken?
Well, my next one is, we're finally getting out of the sci-fi genre for a while, but we're still staying in the early 70s. I got to be honest. I watched TV when I was younger. I don't watch a lot of TV now. I watch more movies than anything like that now. Like in the last, I don't want to say 10, 15 years, I don't watch a lot of television anymore. But this one, I was glued to the set. And you mentioned earlier that I started out, you worked in radio for a few years way back when I was a lot younger. And I'll be honest with you, this show is one of the reasons why I actually wanted to get into radio. It's WKRP in Cincinnati. It was a sitcom that ran from 1978 to 1980. Of which?
This is something that's a bit more recent. Go ahead.
Well, I didnn't say it was going to be more recent. I don't watch shows
anymore, but this was one show that I do watch, or I did watch.
Did I say that? I might have said that.
Well, you basically said that.
Well, okay. So
go ahead.
The show was originally created by Hugh Wilson. It was based on his experiences working at a top 40 radio station in Atlanta. Most of the characters on the show were actually based on people that he met at that station, and he once told the Cincinnati Enquirer that he selected WKRP as the call sign to stand for CRAP. Crap. So I thought that was pretty funny. The show premiered on September 18th, 1978 on CBS. It aired for I shouldn't say only 4 seasons, but it aired for 4 seasons with 90 episodes ending on April 21st, 1982. Starting in the middle of the second season, CBS bounced the show around the schedule, and that is really what contributed to the lower ratings and its eventual cancellation. When KRP went into syndication, though, it became a huge success, and that seems to be a theme here. For the next decade, it was one of the most popular sitcoms in syndication, outperforming most of the programs that had been successful in primetime, including all of the other MTM Enterprises sitcoms. WKRP originally premiered on CBS Monday nights at 8 p.m., and it went up against ABC's Welcome Back, Kotter and NBC's Top 20 show Little House on the Prairie, so it initially had poor ratings up against those two juggernauts. And the show was actually put on hiatus after only 8 episodes, even though one of the episodes included in those original 8 was the best episode of the entire series and possibly the best episode in television history, Turkeys Away, one of the great episodes of all time. And that, of course, included the classic line, which I won't play recording of. I'll actually say the line because you know what will happen if I play the recording, with station manager Arthur Carlson saying, "As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly."
You know, funny enough, we started off talking about copyright and whatnot and music rights and all that. And that is kind of what's really hurting WKRP from being anywhere, because they would play a lot of music and they got the rights to play the music, but they got the rights to play the music during the original airing.
That's right.
And I guess in reruns and all that.
Yeah.
But they're not able to release DVDs or Blu-rays or streaming of this show at all because of the copyrighted music that they aired or played on the show. Even if you go on YouTube and you search WKRP, you can watch entire episodes unless there's music playing. That part's cut out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they either cut it out or what they started doing for a while when it was re-airing in syndication is they would do sound-alikes on the show, and if there was any dialogue over the sound-alikes, then the scene would be either cut entirely or they would have somebody come in and re-record the dialogue, actors who sounded like the actors. There's only ever been 2 DVD releases. The first one was the very first season, and that was with all of the sound-alike music and all the scenes cut and everything like that. And it sold so poorly that they never did another season. And then a few years ago, Shout Studios released the complete series, and there's a blurb on the back of the box set that says they paid for the copyright for most of the music, but there was some music that they just couldn't get the copyrights for. So those scenes are either cut out of the episode or they use some of the sound alike stuff. So, they've never done another series since, I guess, because it's just too expensive to produce.
Yeah. When you got to start paying for all that music that Spotify won't let you use. Okay, enough of that. Alrighty, I'm going to get into some reality TV. And as Stan, there's so much reality TV. What could there possibly be missing? Big Brother. And again, people are saying, Stan, Big Brother's airing right now. What are you talking about? But no, Big Brother Canada. It ran 12 seasons, which is actually quite a bit. I guess I should be happy. But it concluded in May of 2024. It was won by a bartender in Halifax. And that's the part that kind of made it cool, because being in Canada, it's kind of neat that you can kind of cheer for people from your own province. And that's what I liked about Big Brother Canada so much. It was pretty much the identical show as Big Brother that you get in the US. But it wasn't people that you knew, but it was people that you were from, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
But I do have some good news. The show went on. It ended up facing cancellation just because of the cost and everything involved with it. But it's actually coming back. They're going to bring it back in 2027. It's going to move from global TV to CTV.
Okay.
So it's going to be a new thing. And what they're going to do is really smart. They're going to they have the set, right, with the house and everything. Mm-hmm. So they're going to do Big Brother Canada, and then they're going to do Big Brother Canada Francais. So they're going to be using that same set to do two different shows. Brilliant. So now they're they don't have to so Big Brother, I think it's, anyways, and that's going to help with the production costs. And I'm sure they're going to get sponsors and whatnot, just like Amazing Race Canada is just filled with sponsors. And have you been watching Amazing Race by any chance, Ken?
I have. I love Amazing Race Canada. I like both versions, Amazing Race and Amazing Race Canada.
The prizes they're having for Amazing Race Canada are unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And Expedia is giving them these massive trips all over the world, like just for coming in first, like every week.
Yeah.
Anyways, so it was 12 seasons. It was a long time, but I was sad when it's gone, and I'm really happy it's coming back. I like my Big Brother and my Survivor. Where are you at, Ken?
I was just going to say, maybe, if my knees were a little bit better, I'd say you and I should try out for the Amazing Race Canada. It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, right. Could you imagine me? I'm too scared to go on a swing set. How am I going to zip line off the CN Tower?
Oh, you have to admit it would be fun, though.
Yeah, there's no way in the world I'm doing that. I'd be good with building if you need to do a puzzle thing, I'll be good with that. I can make a puzzle or whatever. And the other one, too, is that memory thing that they have to do on the final episode all the time, where they have to remember everything that happened on what day it happened and all that. Forget that. I'm not doing good. I'm not going to win that. I'll be out day one. It'd be like, I'll take the fast pass and just...
We'll be like, yeah, we're good. Thanks anyway.
Yeah, I'll take the penalty on this one. I'm not zip lining off the CN Tower. Alrighty, Ken, which one are you at?
My next one here, this is just kind of a personal one for me because and here we go. I'm actually in the 2000s, everybody. So this is one.
All right.
This is one I watched when it first aired, and I've watched it several times since then. You probably watched this one too. It was the animated series Justice League, which ran from 2001 to 2004. How that happened, I don't know, but it ended up being only 2 seasons. So the show actually aired from November 17th, 2001 to May 29th of 2004, produced, of course, by Warner Brothers Animation and based, of course, on the Justice League of America, published by DC Comics. The series did actually have a follow-up show, but it was an entirely different show. So the original Justice League series ended after just 2 seasons, but it was followed up by Justice League Unlimited, which ran for another 3 seasons. According to the audio commentary on the DVD of season 2 and the second season finale, Star-Crossed was completely planned to be the final episode. So we did actually get a final episode to the series, but they followed it up afterwards with Justice League Unlimited, which aired starting in July of 2004. The series premiere for Justice League originally in 2001 set a Cartoon Network record with over 4.1 million viewers, and it made it the channel's highest rated premiere ever, and it was a record that it would keep until 2009 when Scooby-Doo came on with 6.1 million viewers. The season received a lot of acclaim for the portrayal of the superhero team, and it was good storytelling, brilliant animation. It definitely was a show that had its strengths. It did face some criticism, though. There's some feeling that they needed to develop the characters a little bit more. The show, however, was ranked as the 20th best animated show of all time by the website IndieWire. And the show itself was only eclipsed by season 2. This Justice League's season 2 is only eclipsed by the show Justice League Unlimited as the strongest superhero team series. Everything in the second season of Justice League was higher quality animation, higher quality music, sound effects, and story writing was a lot better. So some people out there probably remember the original series Justice League. I was very disappointed that it only lasted 2 seasons.
Yeah, I don't know if I really got into Justice League, but I did watch a lot of the Batman animated series. And I just love the animation style of all those DC cartoons that came out during that time period.
Mm-hmm. They admitted freely that they were going very much for the look of those Fleischer cartoons from the 40s, when Fleischer Studios produced those series of Superman cartoons with that very realistic kind of animation, very beautifully colorful, beautifully painted. I mean, those cartoons were released 1941, I think was the very first one that came out, and they're still a style of cartoon, hand-drawn cartoon at that. Bear in mind, this is way before CGI animation or anything like that. And the look of those cartoons, like I watch them today, and those cartoons are 1940, so they're like over 80 years old. And the animation is better than anything produced now. I mean, they're amazing to watch.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I agree. Hard for me to say if I agree with you on that one or not, because I never really watched it, and I think like the Batman animated series and all that. By the time they were winding down, I would think I was pretty much I had enough of them. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I understand that.
Yeah. Okay, so my next one here. So this was never actually meant to be on TV. It was a web series, and it was only they made like 1 season, and it was actually made during the writer's strike that happened. It came out in 2008. It's a 2008 musical comedy documentary series made up in 3 acts. It was produced exclusively for internet distribution. It was filmed and set in Los Angeles, and the show tells a story of an aspiring supervillain named Dr. Horrible, played by Neil Patrick Harris, and his nemesis, Captain Hammer, played by Nathan Fillion. Another Nathan Fillion went on my list. And a charity worker who was like the love triangle of played by Felicia Day. Consists of 3 acts, approximately 14 minutes each. And they were first released online in 2008 as an individual episode, and with 2-day intervals in between each episode coming out. Josh Whedon funded the project himself at just over $200,000, and it was the Dr. Horrible sing-along blog. And this is another one when you go to these Comic Cons, you see these guys dressed up in lab coats and the Neil Patrick Harris type hair and all that, and with a shrink ray or gun or whatever. Huge following, like post release, and it was made just almost as a something to keep busy during the strike, and it became a huge hit, but they never did anything else with it other than comic books, basically. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with it at all, Ken?
I vaguely remember hearing about it when it first aired, and I think I might have even watched the first one. I'm kind of struggling to remember it, but I kind of think I remember seeing it. Was Neil Patrick Harris, he had like the sort of Doc Brown kind of wig on him with the crazy hair and everything like that, something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, then I think I have seen it.
And so he wants to get into the League of what the heck was it? The League of Evil or something?
Something like that. The League of Super
the League
Evil.
Of Evil, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, the League of I think it was Super Evil. I don't know. His goal is to get into this, but he's in love with Miss Penny. But then there's Captain Hammer, who's like the hero, and he keeps beating Dr. Horrible, everything he tries to do. Like every time he tries to do something evil, Captain Hammer stops him, and he likes Penny also. It's just this whole love triangle. It's an incredible story, incredibly well done. It's extremely short. Like I said, it's 3 episodes, 14 minutes each episode. I got the DVD, Ken. I'll have to lend it to you because I don't know if it's available. And maybe YouTube. Yeah, maybe YouTube.
I usually find stuff like that on YouTube.
I can't believe they never. What's that?
I usually find stuff like that on YouTube.
Yeah. But I can't believe they haven't ever done anything else with it. Like it was just one and done type of. Do you have one more?
I got one more for you.
Or are we going to wrap her up?
Well, I got one more quickly here. This last one here is one. This is what I said earlier, that this is one that probably nobody's ever heard of, but I remember this very fondly. The show ran from 2001 to 2002 on the A&E network. It was called A Nero Wolfe Mystery. Nero Wolfe is a television series adapted from a series of novels written by Rex Stout. Basically, he wrote them from 1939 right up until 1976, just a year or so before his death. The show aired on, or rather was set in New York City sometime between the 1940s and the 1950s. The stylized period drama starring Maury Chaykin as Nero Wolfe, Canadian actor, by the way, and Timothy Hutton as Archie Goodwin. The distinguishing feature of the series was that it had a repertory cast who played all of the non-recurring roles. So the same actors played a bunch of different roles all throughout the entire run of the series. Unfortunately, only 20 episodes were produced over the 2-season run, with 8 of Rex Stout's novels adapted into 2-hour broadcasts, and then 12 of his short stories were filmed as 1-hour episodes. The show was based on these series of novels that are brilliant novels. I've read, I don't know, I think he wrote over 100 of them, and I probably read most of them. Brilliant series, really well acted, a lot of fun to watch. It had a jazzy, fun kind of look to it, and the music to the series was very good. Brilliant performances by all of the people involved. It's darn near impossible to find. It's not that I've been able to find anywhere on streaming. However, there are a lot of the episodes available in full on YouTube. Unfortunately, not great quality because they're all ripped from the DVDs that came out. The show has never been released although it was actually filmed in high definition, it was never actually released on DVD or anything in high def. And it's just a lot of fun to watch if you want to get into a good murder mystery every now and then. Everything encapsulated into an hour long or a 2-hour show. I highly recommend it.
So you're the one that watched that. I was wondering who it was.
Well, it was me and my mother. So yeah, there was 2 of us.
Oh, you and your mother. Yeah, but that's only one TV on. I never heard of it. Ever heard of it.
I'm not surprised. Nobody ever has.
Yeah. All righty, Ken. I think we're going to wrap it up here. My last one was Dead Like Me, but we kind of touched on that already. It's George who dies, but finds out that there's life after death, and she comes back basically as a Grim Reaper, but she's kind of a disgruntled Grim Reaper. Mm-hmm. And to make matters worse, is she still has to work a job in the real life, but nobody can recognize her because she looks completely different.
Yep.
And the way she dies is she gets hit by a toilet seat from the Mir space station re-entering the Earth.
That's right.
That's kind of a funny thing. It was canceled by Showtime in 2004, primarily because of due to declining Nielsen ratings during its second season and high production costs. That's a recurring episode. High production costs.
Yep.
And significant creative clashes between the original showrunners and the studio. So the studio said, you know what? We don't need your show. And that was the end of it. It only ran for 2 seasons, 2002, 2003. And it was another one fun, quirky show, a lot like Pushing Daisies.
Yes. Yeah. I remember watching that show very, very much. I think it was on Showtime in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. And
it was on Showtime.
I watched it every week. Like, it was one of the shows I would actually sit down to watch or tape and watch,
Yeah, same here. I think that was back in the time when you had your VHS recorder and you looked in the TV guide. You remember this? You look at the TV guide and you would get the code.
Yep.
And all you do is get on your remote and you punch the code on your remote and it would automatically record for you.
I remember that. That was a really cool system. I got really into that for a while. And it was like a 6-digit code or something. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. It didn't last very long. I mean, I guess it came out right at the time when VHS was dying.
Exactly.
Yeah. And TV guides were dying.
Exactly. Does anybody even still use one? I mean, I don't think they even exist anymore, do they?
No, they don't make TV guide anymore. unfortunately. How could they? Like, how could they make a TV guide these days?
Yeah, fair enough.
Maybe they can. I don't know.
No, I was just I want to throw out one real quick one. I promise you it'll take me like 30 seconds. Was back in the late 90s. It only lasted, didn't even last a full season. It only actually lasted for 13 episodes. It was The Tick with Patrick Warburton in the title role.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, one ended too soon.
Way too soon.
Yeah. With Arthur.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. Well, they did go on to make cartoons and stuff, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, The Tick was good. That was a good show. All righty, Ken. Seeing as how you're here, go ahead now. Take it away.
Tune in tight, the mic's alive. Got the stories that'll make you thrive. From a galaxy far, far away to comic pages where heroes play. Here's the Solo Show, let's dive in deep. Star Wars dreams and secrets to keep. Marvel heroes, the Muppets too. A world of wonder just for you.
If you have a brilliant idea for a future edition of The Solo Show and would like to take your turn in the guest host's chair, then drop us an email at thesoloshow01@gmail.com. Tell us about your idea for a show and we'll contact you about a date and a time for you to join us. If you would just like to keep the conversation going or have a comment about a previous show, then visit us on Facebook at The Solo Show. Don't forget to join us on YouTube, like us and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll never miss a new show. All logos, songs, music, and sounds that are made by and for Disney and its affiliates are owned by the Disney Corporation and are not, nor are they intended to be owned by the Solo Show podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.
The force is strong, the laughs are real. Spinning tales that'll make you feel. From a Wookiee's roar to a hero's might, this podcast shines like a beacon bright. Miss Piggy's sass and Iron Man's flair, a Jedi's wisdom beyond compare. Through the airwaves the stories flow. Here's to the magic of the Solo Show. Here's the Solo Show, let's dive in deep. Star Wars dreams and secrets to keep. Marvel heroes, the Muppets too. A world of wonder just for you. Here's the Solo Show, let's dive in deep. Star Wars dreams and secrets to keep. Marvel heroes, the Muppets too. A world of wonder just